You're now inside the steel. You're in the rack. No fancy studio, no filter, no shortcuts. You're stripping it all down to what matters: training, nutrition, mindset, and the relentless pursuit of 1% better. This is where the work gets done. Welcome to In the Rack podcast, powered by 141 Fitness. Let's get to it.
Welcome back to In the Rack podcast, powered by 141 Fitness. Today, sitting with me for our second episode of Beauty and the Geek, I've got Robert Lee Clark with me. Welcome.
Happy to be back. Looking great. Feeling better. Married as well.
Married?
So,
Officially
married.
Yeah.
Me, my wife, and the government are now.
Nice. You're all intertwined.
Yeah,
It's
intertwined.
perfect.
Yeah, a little threesome.
Your taxes are going to suck now. And if that's what we get from this, is that now Rob has to deal with taxes of having a partner, which is so much fun. They take so much more from you. Good luck. Good luck. All right. So I wanted to start off here first by talking about the progression of my YouTube and what the podcast has become. I've been doing a lot more lately. So I kind of want to get your feedback on this as well, because lately I've found that within my YouTube stuff, which please follow, like, subscribe, share with all your friends and family, I've been doing a lot more exercise demos, and those are popping off. So I found that, like, looking at my optics, my metrics, so on and for the channel, that I'm getting a lot more reception on exercise demos, which is good because I think it's pushing the algorithm to show it to more people than just what I have currently kind of going for London. And then another thing is that I've been putting on some unfiltered, like, banter of, like, me and my clients training together and stuff like that. And you know, I go back on these and I don't realize how funny they are at the time, but, like, when you're, like, in just an unfiltered, like, category and you have some of the great clients that I do, it's actually pretty funny. I think, at least. I think the way that me and my clients talk back and forth is very comfortable, very like off the cusp, raw, like, stuff. And I think being able to do that and put that kind of content out has been, I don't want to say it's a game changer, but it's an avenue that I really want to go down. And let's say if it increases my views, I think it's just better for my channel in general, right? So
No, I think with the whole AI slop that you see on social media nowadays, it's just continuously there are so many pieces of content that you can just, like, this was generated by AI.
Right.
And I think we're moving from that kind of mass production source of content to more authentic kind of things. We want to see real people doing real things.
Right.
It's that extra connection that you get, right? I think everything on social media has just become so diluted by this huge wave and influx of AI content that's being produced. And it's really hard for people to find people who they can truly trust. And I think with being more authentic and giving some more of the raw behind the footage, behind the scenes footage, allows people to actually just see you as a real person and helping real people. And I think that's definitely a great direction to go for.
I agree, man, because I think the relatability aspect of it is that even for myself, like, I'm a big content consumer, so are you. But, like,
huge
watching people, like, just use, like, AI for their ads, for their posters, all this stuff, I'm, like, thinking to myself too, I'm like, oh, like, I don't even want to read it, because, like, you've seen all the photos that are, like, AI'd out now where it's like, here's my like, splash, like, boom, there's the AI, and you can just tell everything that is AI. But when I get so deterred from it because I don't think it's authentic. Like, you know, my wife's also a graphic designer, so I kind of can also tell the difference between what's human put and what's not, right? Like, look at all the Facebook ads that are, like, all AI, and it's just all, like, bam, right at you, like, in your face kind of thing. And I almost want to say, like, a couple weeks ago, I was seeing it so much, and I couldn't stand. I didn't want to not support those people, because usually a lot of them are my friends who don't have, like, graphic designers and stuff like that. But it's too much for me when I just see like every single person or every single post. If I go through my feed and it's like just AI, and I'm like, oh man, like give me something original. Like I yearn for that. So that's kind of what I'm looking for out of this brand. I don't want to make it so that it's all AI based. No, you can't get away from some of the AI stuff. It just helps.
No,
But
I think with AIs can be used as a useful tool to help
yeah,
enhance a lot of the things. But
right.
like you mentioned, it's when you have so much AI out there in terms of like content, us as humans are able to see those things right off the bat and completely ignore it. Where our attention goes is when we used to see ads, we would always skip them. But now everyone thought that with this AI content, I can get people's attention through that way. And you had these over hyper edited videos going out, and it caught people's attention a year or 2 years ago. But now I think people's brains are just so fried from all that stuff. We just want more simpler things, more relatable things.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's
That's why yapping videos are doing so well.
yes.
Right? It's just basically taking your phone, start recording yourself, and just yapping to it.
Yeah.
People connect to that so
Yeah.
much better, but it really does tie into being able to tell stories that people can connect to genuinely will allow you to just go so much further because people are still looking for that human connection. That's why streamers are doing so well. Right?
Yep. I like that. And I think me going in the opposite direction almost like creates a little new avenue for me to be as authentic as possible when it comes to my content because
And it makes it
is-
easier,
right?
right? People used to
100%.
think you have to have this big production team behind you in
Yep.
order just to be on the scene and be noticed. But now we're scaling back on the production stuff and it's not allowing people to get into it a lot easier. And I think that's a great opportunity for everyone. If you're doing a business, if you want to build a personal brand, it's all about just putting yourself out there and not having to worry about all the hyper editing things.
For sure.
Just worry about connecting with the people you want to help.
Yeah. I like that. And then, yeah, I like that more people are in the space, but also at the same time, now it can also become more diluted though, too. That is one of the problems that I'm having is that I feel like maybe my content's getting a little diluted just because everybody and their mother with a weekend certification can also pump out AI stuff and it makes it all look the same. So it's harder to vet who to go to in terms of like training and stuff like that because now you've got Bob who just went and got his CamFit Pro over the weekend and now he's now pumping out like AI stuff like which at some point too you got to make sure that it's actually factually correct and you can't just like using AI is the easiest thing because basically you pump in hey I want to do this and then if you have an education to know that it's right or wrong like that's helpful but if you don't then you could just be spewing out stuff that is like super dangerous to people too, right?
I think we are now in a world where it's just all information is accessible
Right.
at all times. And I don't think people need more information. I think people need more application. It's being able to see the things actually work. Like
Yeah.
it's very easy for me to jump onto ChatGPT or Claude and say, "Hey, give me write me a script on what's the best way to get a bigger chest or tries and record that,
Yeah.
say that." But I can guarantee you there are thousands of other people doing the exact same thing. All you have to do is show it and do it.
Yeah.
Be it with people and be authentic because I've always liked this thing where it's like only you can be you
Yep.
and find the things that make you you and then just really hyper show them.
I agree.
Because like there's things that you've gone through in your life that is only custom for you. It's only your story and you're the only one that can tell it. Anyone else can't copy the things that you went through, the lessons that you've learned, right? So I think you really just be your authentic self and be true to yourself and be honest. And I think people will connect to that and be able to distinguish you from everyone else.
Yeah. Personalization's huge, right? Like being able to share your story and stuff like that, especially. And I even do that within my training too, right? Like with my clients and stuff like that. You can tell like what I've been through and and I'm very open about it. Like I will never tell you why I do a thing because I just saw it or found it or whatever. It's because it's relatable to my life, right? So I think that's also why my clientele are kind of getting into that point where it's like they stay with me so long is because of the personality. Like we've grown together and stuff like that, right? I like that. And this is why I kind of have an angst against like online training is because I don't think that you could be a good enough coach unless you train people in person for so long, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being able to pick up on different things and see or like see energy, see a mood, like maybe somebody's going through a hard time, but your online coach might not know that because it's all about like disclosing to you and stuff like that. But my algorithm and my metrics are saying that the humble, like wholesome, like just be relatable stuff is actually doing really well. So I think I'm gonna run with that for quite a bit. It's hard to constantly keep content going because I feel like there's so many things that we can talk about, but yet what's going to hit, what's going to get us to that next level, what's this podcast going to do, how is it going to view and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to make it so that as many people as possible can view this stuff for free and they can hopefully get some help out of it, right?
I always believe that you want to just give as much value as you possibly can,
Exactly.
right? That way you're always trying to help. With us being so early in the stages of this podcast, like you look at some of the biggest names in podcasts. It took Joe Rogan 10 years before he actually popped off and became mainstream. It took Modern Wisdom 5 years. Alex Hormozy 5 years before anyone even knew him. By just doing epic things and then showing what you did, people can eventually see you. But a lot of this time, it's patience and takes time. But being consistent as you keep on going, just like in working out, you have to be patient. You're not going to have a 6-pack abs day one of doing 10 sit-ups, right? It takes 2-3 months of dropping the body weight, staying consistent with your meals, staying consistent with your workouts, and sticking to a program for a very long time. And this is the exact same way with any business, brand, or anything, podcast. Everything does take time, and you have to just learn to be patient and learn the lessons along the way and building the skill of like being able to communicate
Yes.
and connecting with people and sharing value.
That's a huge thing. It's taught me a lot too, like running the podcast, especially like it's easier to do a podcast with you because I hate rambling to myself, but at the same time, like
You ramble? Oh,
I do ramble.
Never
Believe
noticed
it or
that.
not, I do ramble. It's one of those things where you were talking about like consistency, like looking at my YouTube right now from what it was maybe 6 months ago, I'm slowly building it. Like there's more videos that keep going up and it's taken a long time. And sometimes I go through those moments of not having enough content to do, but then I get like months like this where I've already posted like 5 different things and trying to constantly come up with the new stuff, the new playlist, like the exercise demos. That stuff does take time, but it will compound over the years. Like
Of course.
I don't.
Like, look at the biggest creator in the world, Mr. Beast.
Yes.
Like, one of my favorite things of doing is like when you start comparing yourself to the people who've already made it, like one of the best things that I've done to help me like get my mind around it, because I can't be Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
But if you go back and look at Jimmy's like very first YouTube video when he was just sitting in his bedroom, and I'm pretty sure one of his videos he was just saying Logan Paul for 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Like, it's a grind. Go back to any of your creators or the people that you look up to. Look back at their very first video.
For sure.
They sucked.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Our video sucked.
My videos suck.
Yeah.
Everyone's videos
Yeah.
suck in the very beginning, but that is the process. Everything does take time, and as you make one piece of content, you learn from that piece of content. So you make a better one, better one, and then it's eventually just volume, and then understanding. Okay, well, I just made 100 pieces of content. Let's have a look at all the best performing ones, and then let's do more of that. And then eventually, you're starting to build the skills. You're starting to add more mics into it, the clear mics, headphones, cool little soundtracks.
Yeah.
Right. Finding the things that work.
Yeah.
But like that's with everything in life.
Right.
It takes time.
And yeah, I think you really have to, one of the biggest things for me is that you really just got to drop your ego in order to post this kind of shit. Like, I remember us, like me and you, humming and hawing for, I don't know how long, 2 years almost. Like, oh, we're going to start this. We're going to start this. Well, finally we're here after 2 years. And I think it just came down to, all right, well, we just got to make time, carve out and do it. Right. Like this has been, I enjoy these. I enjoy these types of podcasts too. Like the me and you one-on-one, because we can banter back and forth and it's so good. But
hopefully we're going to be providing some value today.
Yeah.
And like even like for me as a reminder on my phone, I have as my background. I don't know if you guys can see it from there. It says just do it already, because I get in my head all the time thinking like, oh, this is not the right time. This is not the right moment. Like, oh, it doesn't look great. It's not perfect. It's not polished. You know what? Just do it.
Yeah.
Figure it out along the way.
Push the content out. Try. You'll have ebbs and flows. I'm having ebbs and flows. That's why I got you to co-host this with me, because it's harder to do it by myself. So I need accountability. And yeah.
Well, it's fun. So anyway, trying to get us on nice track here. For the beauty and the geek, I really want to pick the brain of the geek and see how he feels about some of the trending topics that are happening in the world today. So I got a couple questions here for you.
Let's do
and you know
this.
what? Since we were talking about this, I think we should kind of just start with this question. AI personal trainers versus human coaches. AI app coaching can now instantly generate adaptive workout plans based on real-time wearable data. This is forcing human personal trainers to shift from just prescribing workouts to providing empathy, accountability, and real human connection. My question for you is, will AI replace personal trainers for the average gym goer? Or does AI just expose how useless some of these cookie cutter plans and training programs were doing all along?
So this is going to be a multifaceted answer, but short term is that I don't think it will. Based on like kind of what I see out in the industry is like there have been cookie cutter programs, there have been like bullshit programs. There's like a ton of programs out there in the world already by great minds already. And a lot of the stuff nowadays is most likely kind of starting to get recycled. Like you're not going to find too much like new ways of how to train. A lot of it is just going back and forth of going back to the old school programs, right? Like think of like what Arnold did with his programming and stuff like that. And then you've got many different bodybuilders who say different things about how to train, the intensity. There's a lot of different components. A lot of that can already be found online. It was online before AI, but for everybody and for coaches around, they think that AI is going to take their job. Well, obviously you're doing your job pretty shitty if you can't like out train or out coach an AI component. Like if you, and I have the experience because I kind of use AI a little bit for myself right now, because I'm kind of going through the waves of, I built my program for myself. I submitted it into a Gemini app, and it's now a gem for me. So basically what I have it doing is it's my coach. It's like, sometimes I get so busy within all the other trainings of everybody else. I just need it to keep me accountable for what I'm doing in that day. So before each training session, I'll say, hey coach, what's my day? And it'll lay out what I've already programmed, but it's just got in front of me instead of me having to look at a page or go through a file and just be like, oh, like today's this day and what date this is. I put it in so that it basically will spit out what's today, what the workout is, what the focus is, and stuff like that. But other than that, it doesn't really do anything other than lay out a formula of what it thinks I need, or what I already laid out and gave it. I gave it the information myself. Now I'm redoing a program that I've done past, because I've come to this big realization that I needed to redo that program, not because it didn't work, but because I needed more time and more consistency on it. So what it does, it tells me what to do. But here's the biggest problem with AI is it can't tell me how to feel. This is a huge aspect of it, right? I'm a coach, I'm training you, Rob, and I'm watching you doing a squat, and your AI might have said, okay, now you got to do 500 pounds for 2 reps for 3 sets.
Have you seen that?
Well, this is exactly what I mean.
There's a trending reel that's going out where it's just like it's the AI voice over, and the guy is underneath the Smith machine, and it's
I
like
reposted
dead.
that.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You shouldn't have actually performed 500 pounds on the bench press. That was an error on my part.
Exactly. So I just reposted that. So that's one of the things that I've always found, and I use many different metric apps to look at bar path, to look at bar speed. And I've kind of gotten into this point where on my dynamic effort days, I feel like I'm not going fast enough. And so I'm having this AI app tell me how fast I'm going. Well, I can't break the barrier of where I need to be. So either I go super light, but I'm now no longer getting any stimulus out of that because I can't get it, or I need a coach to be like, no, 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 you're moving fast. It's okay what you're doing and what pace we're looking at. Don't look at that AI to dictate to you your bar speed needs to be this with this equivocal weight in order to do this. Because sometimes that's not how it works, right? We have good days, we have bad days, right? What if I'm having a really good day, I'm like, Rob, I'm pumped up. I'm like, it's good to see you. Okay, let's push it a little bit more. But having somebody personal train you and coach you through that movement, maybe you're feeling good, but the bar's like a little wonky and you're not feeling it right. Maybe your left hip's a little funky, but you don't tell your AI that, right? You're just like, oh, today's a good day. So that's the only metric they're going off of. So what it comes down to is that for me, AI can never give you enough feedback as to how you look on doing an exercise, say squat, bench, or deadlift, right? Powerlifter, so I might as well use those big three. If my hip is shifting to the right as I'm squatting down, but I'm still getting the bar path and like looks okay from the side, and then my speed's okay, as a personal trainer, I'm like, maybe we got to shut that down. Maybe I'm missing something here, because that can compound into injuries, right? You got that hip shift. It's constantly pushing you to the right side. Maybe your one leg is just taking more of a brunt, but without you sending your video to AI and to it really countering, and I don't even think that it can really, really assess like a human eye can be, right?
Like the way I kind of see things is like for the person that's going into the gym for the very first time, like obviously like it's some gyms are super expensive to get a membership, or it's just like you're just starting out. Maybe yes, and going through ChatGPT or whatever AI you use and just getting like a standard program. Just quick program of like, okay, I'm getting into the gym, I'm starting to work out. But I think there are certain levels to it. And I think when it comes to the personal training side of things and coaches, when you hire on a coach, you're hiring a coach for a specific reason. And the coach is there to analyze your current form to help you progress even further, and especially making sure you're not getting injured. I think that definitely is one of the biggest distinguishes between AI and coaching. Coaching takes it to a different level. You're having an expert who's had hundreds and hundreds of clients, and they've seen as much as they possibly can. They have a vast knowledge on the functions and the proper forms of everything. So having that coach is just that extra step to like really fixing everything that might be wrong in the time, but your AI might not see it.
Right.
Right.
And has your AI ever been under a bar? Has your AI ever like squatted 500 pounds to know what it feels like to have 500 pounds on it? Probably not. It's just a mathematical rhythm or formula that it computes, saying this is where you're at by definition, and all the literature out there, it says that you should be within this range. Okay, well, how true is that based on feel, right? Like I've seen people feel really good, have a really good like deadlift, have a really good bench, and then you go up by like 10% opposed to 5 and you're buckled, right? So like in AI's theory, like, yes, you should be able to be in that range, but what if it's not real life? Like, what if it's not actual? Like, you can't push the difference to go between 405 and 450 is going to be different than 135 to 185, right? Every single metric is always going to be a little bit different. Yes, you have guidelines of how to do it, but the human body is like, it's incredible because it works off of so many different systems, so many energy systems, so many like motor pattern movements, like all of these things. You can't formulate within AI to like make it feel any different. Does that make any sense?
Yeah,
The feel
obviously, there's a lot of
aspect is
data
big.
that goes involved with it, but can it really understand it without actually being there?
Yeah.
I think the personalization and the having a coach there with you who's seen things time and time again can definitely it just takes you to another level.
Yeah, and let's talk about auto-regulation, right? Like if you type in your like ChatGPT or whatever AI bot you're using, hey, I'm not feeling it today. What's the response probably going to be from that? They don't know what.
Oh
I
no,
don't
it's
feel
very
good.
positive and it's always on your side. You know what?
Exactly.
You're absolutely right. We
Yeah.
should never have even
Let's back down.
Let's cool it down. You deserve a day off.
Yeah.
Like it's your best friend. It's like supposed to be your best friend, but like that annoying best friend that agrees with you on
Yeah,
absolutely
exactly.
everything and
That's what we need.
never disagrees with you. Right.
That is why I think that even on those bad days, like you're better off to just kind of go in, do some stuff, work up to it, we talked about it in the last podcast about like, what do you do when you're bad days? Well, what did I do last week? I had a deload week and I was feeling really fatigued. The kids were keeping me up. I'm currently like slow or co-sleeping with the kids right now, and like sitting like a coffin in a single like bed with my daughter is not like ideal for my training. It's not optimal sleep, right? She's constantly kicking me in the face. She gave me like a fat lip last night. I got a right hand that just came across the bed and just boom, like got me. And I was like, oh my God. Like, so I was up again.
It sounds like what my wife does to me.
Oh, okay.
I get the same thing. So
Yeah.
it's like, I have no sympathy there, but
Yeah.
it seems lighter because it's coming from like a 3-year-old.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They've got all just boom. So she hit me real good. I was pretty irritable. After that, like middle of the night, just like fat lip, just, okay. But
I guess this is a great segue into my next question, because with all this data and everything in terms of biohacking, hyper tracking every micro metric, like your sleep scores, glucose monitors, HRV, and the endless substacking back to where do we draw the line from this hyper optimization of everything that we do? Has biohacking helped the average gym goer, or has it just given people an excuse not to work hard when their recovery scores are slightly off?
man, I love this question because like I love everything about fitness. I use a lot of different metrics to kind of track, and I did a study on myself, like sleep study on myself over the course of like 3 years, based off of my at the time Fitbit app that I was using. I did a study, I did a presentation on it, and it kind of showed what it was like for me. So I started this right before having kids. And then I went into the cycle of having kids, and I watched it slowly just absolutely just diminish, like in terms of sleep and stuff like that. At the end of the day, nothing is ever going to be perfect. Depending on your situation and stuff like that, stress, life happens so fast, right? So when we look to optimize everything, we really take away from the ability that the body has to just adapt to whatever stimulus that we're trying to achieve, right? Guess what? In my study of sleep, I'm still here. Like it's not like my sleep diminished my life to be to the point where it's just like it's not it like I can't train or anything anymore. It's just like I had to still train. I had to adapt to getting maybe 6 hours of sleep opposed to 8. So when it looks like that's for me, a lot of people just use these optimization methods as a way of like, oh, I don't really want it that bad. Like, you know what I mean? It's people will use this. I'll look at my watch because like now that I'm on Garmin, I get a little bit better optics metrics in terms of that. I'll look at it and it'll tell me like today needs to be a rest day. And I'm like, yeah, no, like I feel pretty good.
No,
like
today's Wednesday.
No,
It's
exactly.
leg day. We're going out to go and do
exactly.
this.
I got to do it. Yeah. I can take into consideration the metric of like maybe I might be feeling a little bit fatigued that I didn't really know. Maybe I didn't get the right sleep that I needed to. But at the end of the day, is it really going to stop me from like trying to give it my all for whatever capability that I have in that session? I think that's a big thing. And I think when we look at all these young kids who are coming out and like are more science-based training, we have to remember that like there is something to be said about just putting in the time, putting in the effort, like just having a hard training day. Like it might not be optimal, but if we're going to push the margins, then we need to do it on occasion, right? Like nobody ever got better by just being like, oh, like I'm going to take a rest day. My HRV is a little high today. Maybe I should just take a rest. Like think about all the people who are going into the gym and still training and are being better than you, right? The way that I see it is that when you look at like Olympic sports and stuff, you have 4 years to train. How many bad days do you think that you're going to get out of those 4 years, right? But your competition is probably still going to be training on those days. So you have to consider that as a factor, being like, am I going to get out trained by somebody? Is somebody's bad day and them not letting it affect them going to be the detriment to my performance, whether it be on bodybuilding, whether it be Olympics, whether it be any other sport, right? Like sometimes, yes, you're not going to have the optimal sleep, but you got to push through, right? Imagine not having an optimal sleep when you're going up to perform that day. Well, you put in all this work, and now your watch is now saying to you, "Hey, wait, you're low energy today, buddy. Like you can't don't do anything, and I got to go perform. What do you think I'm gonna do? I gotta fucking do it."
I think it just becomes like, I think some people just use it too much as an excuse not to do the hard thing.
Exactly.
Rather than, you know what? Yes, I got a shitty score on my sleep. I didn't get the best sleep, or something happened the night, and something's telling me, "Oh, yeah, don't do it, man. Don't do it." But rather than that, just still go to the gym, get your workout in, and you're like, you know what? Today I feel a little flat. Maybe because of this, sure. But at the end of the day, you still went to the gym. You still got the workout in. Just still go. Don't let it be an excuse not to do the thing.
For sure.
Right?
No, we talked about that 2 weeks ago, where it was just like, what do you do on your bad days? Well, I go to the gym and I try my best. That's what you got to do. Sometimes you're not going to feel it. And then think of like how different it's going to be if you didn't have your watch. If your watch didn't tell you how to feel in that day, like you would just think, it's Wednesday. Just going to go. We're going to give her. Right. So I like that. I also like the health data. And I do think it is important to find different characteristics, maybe different patterns. Maybe you don't realize that your workday is really affecting your energy level, but your watch will tell you, okay, now I'm getting 20,000 steps in. Holy, that's a lot of work comparative to the 10,000 I usually get. So maybe that's why I'm feeling a little fatigued. Maybe that's why I didn't get that lift. Maybe my lifts aren't progressing based off of like, I'm just doing too much. Maybe I've got a couple days of sleep where it's not right. And then, you feel down. You just gotta make those choices of, do I push it too hard? Do I push it hard enough? Am I just gonna come in and do maybe an oil change workout where it's just like refresh the body, try to get some blood flow? Maybe that'll increase my energy. How many bad days have you shown up to the gym and like walked out and been like, oh man, I needed that. That was a great session. Well, what happens if you miss all those? Are you gonna get better that way? You could, if you really dive into optimization. There's been times where my watch has literally told me like, hey, you've had a really easy day. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I just got in like 6 fights with my wife. Like the kids are being crazy. Like I am spent, but it's all based off of my feeling, So I think we do mislead by the optimization of like, sometimes we have to take in how we feel in order to do this.
I don't know. I think people just get so obsessed with so many of these metrics and so many of these datas, and to me, I'm a simple guy. It's just like I don't need the extra, like the anxiety or the problems that it's going to cause me mentally to overthink a lot of these things.
Exactly.
I'm like, you know what? I woke up. I'm a little tired. I'm going to go work out.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel better. Right.
Exactly.
Keep it as simple as you possibly can. Just learn to lift heavy, get better sleep, eat well, carry on.
And at the end of the day, I think all this optimization stuff on like, oh, what joint tension, blah, 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 blah. If you've ever just worked out like really fucking hard, like try to repeat that many, many times and you will get better. Your body will adapt. It's one of those things that it's like this crazy system of like and I fully agree. We don't understand half of what the body is as of this point. We have a lot more information, like we talked about before with the AI stuff, is that we have more information, but sometimes the information that we're getting is just not helpful, right?
I think you nailed it on the head when it's just like, it's more about like learning to listen to your body rather than focus on what the numbers and everything are saying. Like understanding that if you feel like you got a tweak in your shoulder, maybe I shouldn't do shoulders today and do a heavy press. Right? Maybe I'll just switch up the exercise and go somewhere else. It's all about learning about what feels good and what doesn't feel good and trying to avoid the not so good part of it, but still showing up for yourself every day.
Yeah, bro. I have to do that with my back all the time too, is that like, if I notice that I'm putting in too much like low back volume, I'm going to start to get like too much fatigue. And then I'm a little bit more experienced now, but after time and time again of having like a little bit of a low back tweak, I never want to get to that again. There was a story I put into one of these podcasts. I think it was really early, but I had a low back strain on just a day that I didn't really need to be in the gym, but I pushed it a little extra hard and it didn't reward me by anything. I went home and I couldn't even pick up my like 2.5-year-old kid. Like they're 30 pounds. So am I, was that a smart move? No, I could have made it a better decision on to doing that based off of how I feel. But the program said, you got to do this by this. And then that's where I was just like, oh, maybe I should listen to myself a little bit more. I think that's an underlying aspect of optimization is like listening to your body and when to push and when to not push. Like nothing else can tell you that. Like you use your brain and like just acknowledge the red flags and the signs that say, hey, let's not push it today a little bit. I don't think the optimization, but I also think in this next generation coming up, like hard work is not a thing anymore. Have you noticed that? Like we grew up a little bit, we're a couple of years apart, but we grew up in that era of like you work hard, you go to work, you do your job, and then you come home and then like you do more. I noticed that with kids right now. Like my dad was never this way, but like you come home from work and you just straight into the kids. For me, that's like the biggest difference that I find now is that our parents taught us how to work hard. Like in our era, these kids coming up now are not like that. It's hard pressed to find a really hardworking kid. I'm going to throw a fictional number, but I guarantee you, and being in the military, I see it all the time, is that you have 1 in 5 kids who will just like nose to the grindstone, know what they need to do. They might not look for the experts on how to do the best job possible, but they're willing to just suffer and and it's far and few in between, man. It's crazy. Like, and working with a lot of high school kids, it's very apparent nowadays.
It's a slippery slope because I feel like every generation before said the next generation is this generation's weaker. The guys that went to war back in the 40s, they're saying this next generation, they're all soft, they're a bunch of hippies, and then that generation ended up saying we're soft, and then I'm sure my dad probably looks at me, he's like, you're a little soft, bud. And then now that I look at these next generation, I'm like, these kids got it easy.
Yeah,
like
for sure. Well, think of like we're coming into the era of like the tablet kids, man. And convenience for them, it's crazy how convenient everything is. Like how much? Like I don't even go to the grocery store anymore. I literally online order. Instacart, man. Like you used to have to go do that. You know what? I used to enjoy going grocery shopping because it got me out. I'd throw my headphones in, listen to a podcast, figure out what I wanted to eat. You don't even have to do that. Whatever's on sale, just add it to my cart. Boom. I go sit at the parking lot and I see my boy Mike, who, shout out to Mike. He's been my guy for about a year now, who always delivers me the groceries. And he's a gem, man. Love that guy. We have some good banter. Shout out Mike.
Yeah. But I think some of the mundane tasks, sure. Like I'm not a huge fan of going grocery shopping. But like some of the mundane stuff, like, yes, get it off my plate. But now you have all this extra time, what you're doing. And I think that's why this big wave of do hard things has been such a big impact on a lot of people, because it's just like we don't have hard things anymore.
No,
that's why they go and look for all these things that really push us to the test, really push yourself to the limit and any aspect of it, right?
Yeah. In terms of optimization, because I do want to talk a little bit about diet. Yes, there's many different ways to optimize your diet and stuff like that. And I think that everybody should at least look for 3 different diets and try them all in terms of trying to optimize your health. For me, maybe optimizing my glucose level might help me with energy, so on and so forth. So when I'm looking at my meals, I'm trying to plan a lot of my carb meals to be around my workouts, because I find that that's when I need the most energy. If I don't have the energy that I'm looking for, maybe it's easier for me to deter from training, right? That's a big one. One of the other things too is glycogen replenishment. For me, I can go into a workout fasted and feel way better than when I have a boatload of carbs in my system. Like, say if I were to eat like a bowl of pasta, like maybe the morning of before my training session, I get
Eating a bowl of pasta
no,
the
this is
morning
just,
of.
yeah, I know. This is just like, okay, so say I'm eating like French toast or something like that.
Yeah.
You would think that all of those carbs, for me and my individual self, I can't have those carbs before I go in and train because I just feel bogged down and like my digestion system can't get it through and can't convert it when I need it. So I got to make sure that I time my meals right. So optimization in terms of food timing is going to be very critical for the diet aspect of that health. And I know that you weren't maybe pushing on that with the question, but I do think it's very important to have people understand that you can optimize your diet and it's going to optimize a lot more of your training to be a little bit better when it comes down to it. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm. Try to keep it simple as you possibly can, right? But like I'm more focused on the hyper fixation of making sure that everything is absolutely perfect. Like I think that just becomes such a huge excuse for people for
Right.
feeling shitty. Well, I didn't have my bowl of pasta this morning, so now
Yeah.
this workout's gonna suck.
Yeah.
But it's like this fixation of making sure that everything is perfect and
Yeah.
has to be a certain way is just going to hinder you going forward. If everything is perfect, then what happens on those days when it's not perfect and you do have to perform?
Yeah.
Like you mentioned about, like, it doesn't have to be just like an athlete.
Exactly.
Like this can just be a regular person. Like I have to make sure that I do this routine every single morning before I even start working. Like, but that whole routine took you 2 hours and you could have just started working. Do you have to have all these things in place perfectly for you to actually perform? Or does it just become a crutch?
In all of my life, which is 33 years, nothing has ever been perfect. Like not absolutely definitively perfect. There's no single moment that anything has ever been 100% perfect, which is crazy to think about. Like, yes, you can have like 90% of the things perfect. Great. But in the 33 years that I've lived, nothing has ever been solidify perfect. I am old, yeah. So that is the biggest part, is that I think that people have to understand nothing in life is perfect. And that's, if you're going to take that anything away from this podcast, nothing in life is perfect. There's stressors all over, there's stimulus all over the place. Like, yeah, it's just, you can optimize as far as you can, but when it comes down to it, just training hard is the most important thing, I think.
If you're waiting for that perfect moment to do something, you're going to be waiting a very, very long
Very
time.
long time.
And then eventually you're going to be like, wow, 2 years
Yeah.
just passed and
Yeah.
I haven't even started this.
Exactly. And
Right?
You know?
For example, for the podcast. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like we were waiting for the perfect moment to do this.
There's no perfect
and
time.
There isn't. It's just getting out and just starting and doing it. So stop the overthinking.
just do it anyways.
Just do it already.
Yep. That's a big
love
one.
that. Awesome. Well, I've got another one, especially when it comes to training, longevity training versus pure aesthetics training. People are ditching the six-pack at all costs kind of mindset in favor of training for a health span prioritization and joint health, prioritizing joint health, mobility, zone 2 cardio, and functional movements so they can move well in their 70s and their 80s. At what point does training purely for longevity become boring? And do you still need some classic performance or aesthetic goals to stay motivated?
Okay. I love this question. This is a great one. I have a lot of opinions on it. I got a good story on this. So I'm going to start off with the story. So the day that I had our firstborn was the day that I changed my training forever, which it wasn't in the gym. It wasn't at home. It was in that hospital room, because I now gave up myself to now having a child that I need to take care of. And the instant that I held her was the day that I said, I am going to be around as much as I possibly can for as long as I possibly can in order to make sure that you are a healthy and well-developed child, no matter what. That was the thing that I said to myself, is that no matter what aspect I need to change in order to make sure that I'm here for as long as possible, that is the sole defining moment of my life. So, and I think that a lot of people who have kids do come to that conclusion. And I hope so, at least, because you don't want that to be different for people. I don't want that to be different for people, because I think it's very important to cultivate our next generation that's coming up, right? But in order to do that, you need to be there, right? So when we talk about longevity, I don't want to be that guy who is like your average power lifter who can't get off of the couch because they can't do any conditioning for themselves and keep themselves in like such a state that like now powerlifting is my life. Like that, I've lost that. I love powerlifting, but it's more of a hobby than it is anything. Longevity for me is important to me because I know that my kids need to see me and I want to get to that, like, 70, 80 without having problems, without having heart attacks. My dad had a heart attack pretty young too. So my mom also had liver disease, and that, like, to me, like, that I don't want to go down early. Like, why would I want to be like, I'm going to miss half my kid's life because I just didn't make the right choice. So dawning that inspiration of having a child has now really positioned. And I think a lot of people go that way based off having kids and they want to preserve their life, right? I don't understand people who constantly just want to feel bad, like in their life. Like when they have access to training, you have access to all of these different therapies, you have your GLP-1s and stuff like that, like are making things better for people and are making it easier to live a longer life. But when it comes down to longevity over aesthetic, I now think that more people are transitioning into the longevity aspect of training opposed to the aesthetic. Because at the end of the day, you can be more consistent with longevity despite not having the aesthetic for it, right? Like if you can move well, maybe you don't have a six pack, but you can move really well. You can like live well into your 70s, your 80s without having additional aid in order to function. I think that's a huge priority, right? And I think that the older you get, the more it plays on you because like life hits you fast, man. Like I'm not 20 anymore and I feel it. And I've got to watch my markers. I notice my mood changes a lot more if I don't sleep as much. I have very little patience when it comes to not being able to sleep or, I got to do the hard things. I have to do the hard things regardless, but, I can make my mood a little bit better by sleeping. So these longevity aspects, like, do you think at any point in time we're going to have this pill that's just going to make us live to like 150 or what?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%. I think we're very, very close. Give us 10 years.
10
and
years.
I think 10 years.
It is 2026, so we'll
we're
come
gonna
back in
have-
2036 and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. I've heard some crazy things in that space.
Yeah.
But like realistically, like it's always funny. As soon as you turn 30, you're like, oh, dude, I'm 30. Like, you're right. You're like, I don't feel as like I was when I was 20.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't feel like young. My joints are starting to hurt. You know what? I think I'm gonna run a marathon.
Stop.
I'm gonna run a marathon, buddy.
What about a high rocks?
I'm gonna do high rocks
Yeah.
too because that's gonna make me feel so much better. I need
Right?
the endorphin high and everything
Yeah.
from it because I need to feel like I still got it.
Yeah.
I can still do it. Like I
Well.
got to prove to myself.
You ain't got it, brother. So
No, but the thing is, I think it definitely has shifted. I don't think it's shifted too crazy into it. I think a lot of people still want to have that look good, right? You want to look lean. You want to look
Yeah.
like you have some muscle on you. But I think the longevity side of things, if you look at some of the older bodybuilders, like the way that they walk and like they can barely hold themselves up without like having some sort of support. That's why C-Bum is like he's a huge proponent in mobility. Like if you look at his training and everything that he does now, it is
Well, yeah, look
to
at
bring
the-
that functionality and being able to move around. Like his entire training program's completely changed.
Yeah.
Like I saw a clip with him with Jesse James West where he's like all bodybuilders just walk around like this with their shoulders kind of forward and they have this big like hunch.
Yeah.
But like C-Bum's now working out so he can actually have his shoulders back and fix his posture, right? But like I think longevity is definitely something that we all kind of have to play a part in looking after ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. It is those big workouts that we kind of do. It's like not always about lifting heavy. I'm contradicting myself because I love to lift heavy.
Yep.
But on the long side of things, it's like it is looking after your joints. It is looking after your health because you want to keep on going and be able to move like you were 20. But
Well, here's a correlating thing. What does C-Bum have that I also have?
steroids?
No.
No. Oh. like he's got a better mustache than you.
Well, okay. It's
Children.
not that. Thank
Children.
you.
Children.
There we go.
Okay,
Right?
yeah, he just-
Ironically, why did like? And he's like he achieved what he wanted to achieve. So whether or not, well, you know, there might be always those things of maybe, you know, coming back or whatever. But he has children. He has something to live longer for, right? So that is a defining factor, I think, in his training, that he's just realized that being a bodybuilder at that level, and he was at a fucking high level. That is a high level right there. And like even it's hard to talk about people who live that high level life because he was high level aesthetic, right? Top of the world.
Mhm.
Like I don't know. I don't know bodybuilding that well, but he was top of the world. Okay.
6-time Mr. Olympia.
Okay.
Like,
Okay. Well,
come on.
speak up, man. He went into longevity probably because he found out that, like, guess what? Being a bodybuilder wasn't the suitable lifestyle to enjoy as much of his life as he could with his young child.
Mhm.
I think I don't know if he's got a daughter or not, but shit'll change you, right? So the way that I'm going to put it here is that there's a timeline. So 16, you're finding out like your workout, like, so you being 16 here, okay, say like, what's the upper echelon? Like, let's say 25, 26. Within this time frame here is all going to be aesthetic, okay? And then after that, you get 26, you start to thinking like, oh, I'm getting, either you're catching some injuries, which generally happens for people who train very hard and at that high level. After 26, everything starts to deteriorate, and now you're looking at like, how do I make this longer? So why wouldn't I? Now I look into mobility. Now, like my joints, I need to keep my joints warm. I'm wearing more sleeves. I'm wearing more gear, stuff like that, right? To keep everything. And the same thing is in sports. NFL, you get to a certain point where it's hot, like it's no longer high output. It is, okay, how can I sustain something in order to make these contracts longer enough so that I can make actual money and then retire, like without having to work after that, right? That's the same thing with football. Look at how many years that you can get out of football, right? Before you get any concussions or like serious like injuries or trauma, whatever it may be. Same thing with the military. You get a certain like lifespan of like you're just high output, and then all of a sudden like now you're looking, okay, how do I conserve this high input? Right? What I'd like to see is that people get that high output towards 26, and then from there they can sustain stuff, right? In terms of the longevity. Longevity can mean so many different things. Are you going to make it to 50? Are you going to make it to 60? Are you going 70? Right? And it'll all change. After 26, that was the year that I figured out I needed to start getting my blood work done. This goes into the longevity aspect of it quite a bit, because when you get your blood markers done, you can kind of see more things of what the body's doing that you might not know at a cellular level, right? I think anybody after 30 needs to start getting their blood work done. And I will die on that, like, what's that saying? Die on that cross?
Down the hill.
Die on the hill?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That one's out. I will die on that hill in order to say, once you after 30, need to start getting your blood work, because that's when most things start popping off. 30 and above, like now you're looking at cholesterol. You're looking at your fat lipids. You're looking at your liver function, your kidney functions, your TRT, like your growth hormone aspect, your estrogen, like all of these different factors is what you need to be looking at in order to optimize your human performance, right? And your performance can be whatever you want to make it.
So in that age group from 16 to 26, should they really be focusing on longevity? Should they be really worried about like their functional fitness, or should they?
It depends really on your goals and what you want to do. If you're thinking longevity in terms of like 16, 17, I want to be better, just overall health, great, good for you. That's considered longevity as well, right? Like, oh, now
But
I
should
need
they
to
prioritize that? I don't think so, because like when you're young, you just want to look good, and
Yeah.
like that, I'm 100% on the
But-
side of like looking good when you're younger.
Yeah.
But when you do get past that 26 or 30 marker, that's when we start focusing on the longevity side of things.
Yeah.
I think don't
They
prioritize
coincide with
too-
each other though too, because everything you do aesthetically may or may not help you with longevity, unless we get into the other stuff that we don't really need to with this topic. But because the aesthetic look, if you're being a healthy lifestyle, you're you're going to be able to maintain that base level a lot longer throughout the years, right? Build up your base, just like the pyramid, right? Like you have a big, firm, wide base. Then the higher you go up, the more specific you can be. And then that way, when you're 26, you're not starting from zero, right?
What's the biggest difference between a longevity workout and like purely aesthetic looking workout?
I think a lot of it has to do with intensity,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're looking at longevity, maybe it's not as intense as what you're aesthetically looking for, right? Pushing those big boundaries, pushing those reps, pushing that heavy weight. Like after 30, do we really need to? That's when we start to get into in powerlifting is master classes and stuff like that, right? So it is one of those things where you can subcategorize yourself now, like where you can work at a different level. But when you're in with the 26-year-old like unlimited class, like that's all aesthetic, baby. Like that's you just trying to go for it as much as you can, and then that's your window there. Yeah, now these don't have to be like you have outliers everywhere, right? I just heard of a Cansoft.com guy who got picked up at 50 years old. Like that's crazy, but maybe right time, right place, right life, like, you know. And like when we talk about Cansoft.com guys, like you have to be in like incredible shape because of the demand of what you're going to be doing for the military. So when it comes to that, like sometimes it's just right time, right place. But I guarantee you that that person who got picked up at 50, I bet she was putting in the work for a long time. He's got that foundation, like because you don't just get in like for a year and then you're just like, oh, I want to go to Cansoft.com and be an elite and go do the bad dude things that like that's what they do, right? You have to have worked on it. You have to have the capabilities, the capacity, training, so on and so forth, right? So all of it, when we talk about aesthetic over longevity, yes, you might lean to one side when you're younger, like other side when you're later in life, but they all kind of coincide together. Like your foundation has to be built somewhere along there, right? Now, right, it'll have ebbs and flows, but at the end of the day, like, yeah, it's
Well,
all,
you see a lot of these these bodybuilders now getting into like running marathons,
yeah,
right? But when people start looking at these people who are now doing marathons and they're jacked, is it because of the marathon training that they did to get there?
no,
No, they worked their butts off to get the aesthetic look,
yeah,
and then they moved in and shifted
yeah.
into that.
And that's fine because it's like, you know, if you look at heart health, well, I wouldn't say a marathon's also like the most uh, longevity based training there is either, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's studies that show like marathoners like end up having more heart attacks than regular people who don't do marathons, right? Triathletes, same thing, right? You're pushing the pace of what your heart's capability is, and maybe, you know, maybe that'll axe your longevity because you're straining it for so long, right? Like that's kind of one of those things where I think about it is like, you know, there is no wrong or right way for longevity training, but what do you want out of life?
Mm-hmm.
What is your life going to be if you were to push it as far as look at Ronnie Coleman, man? He pushed for so hard and so long, and now kind of look at the state that he's in, which when I see that, I'm thinking to myself, maybe if I would like, if he would have taken off a couple of years, like maybe if he would have done things differently, he would be like, you know, hanging around with like Branch Warren and like Ray Cutler or Jay Cutler. Sorry. Wow. Jay Cutler, perfectly functional. Like like Jay Cutler's still going to shows and he's still handing out awards. He did that high level thing, but you know, he came out of it maybe like in a little bit better shape than what Ronnie did. And, you know, that's a life a little bit more than what he can, you know, he can utilize the rest of his life. He's got more energy, you know, you're mobile, like that's a big thing. Like mobility comes towards the end of your life and you take that shit for granted as soon as it happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, you also kind of look at it. It's like we can even circle back to that our first question with like having a coach.
yeah.
Like, yes, you could be training us for the aesthetic portion of it, but you can also do it in a way that is still looking after your mobility. It's still looking after your joint health and everything, right? It's having that coach is being able to see everything and be able to give you the proper form. That way you're not putting too much stress onto your joints. You're not going to blow out your shoulder or anything like that.
Yeah. Because they should be experienced at that point too. Like they should know what it feels like. Like if you have a coach that has never felt what it's like to push maximally for powerlifting, I wouldn't say that it's the best coach. Yeah, there are some coaches that are out there that don't look the part as they were anymore, but I'm sure you can still, what's the word? What am I trying to think of here? I'm trying to think of like they should still be able to use the numbers, assess. Like, yeah, I don't. That's a different one. I don't like necessarily where that goes with the whole coaching aspect. Like, if your coach hasn't done what you're about to do, I guarantee you that the coach of Colton, the like best power lifter in the world right now, has also never pulled like 1,200 pounds on a deadlift, but he got this person to be able to do that, like with his coaching. So I've always had a big thing like that too, is because I had to deal with it early in my career of like, well, I was never super strong. Like I was a motocross athlete. Like I got to a decently high level, not as high as I'd really want to, but I was training pros. I didn't need to be able to be as fast as a pro in order to train a pro. And I feel like some people kind of get misguided by that in terms of like, well, your coach never was a pro, so how can he teach you how to be a pro? And it's like, well, there's certain things in certain ways that you can go about training that your coach doesn't ever have to really do, but he just has to know the aspect of the training in order to get you to the position you need to be, right? So,
Side question. When you ever go into a public gym and you see someone who just has the worst form, do you go up to him and say, hey, buddy, this will be the best way to do it? Make sure your elbows are tucked in here, and you give him some advice? Or do you bite your tongue and walk away and let that poor little bastard suffer?
now I don't really often go into public gyms anymore.
Is it for that reason?
No, it's not for that reason. And unless it was super, super dangerous or somebody looked like they needed a lot of help, I would probably not approach somebody. I'm just not that guy to also to just go up to you and be like, hey, like, my name's Wade. I'm a personal trainer. I'm at Good Life today, but I don't actually train here, but I can help you with that. And then that's just not me. So unless somebody was like dying on the bench and I could be like, hey man, I like what you're doing there, but can I give you like a quick little trick? And I don't know if it'll help or not, but I just want you to kind of feel this and see if it does change. Maybe make it feel a little bit better for you, because it looks like you're like wincing, or like you're not really getting in that right pattern that you need to be. If that's the case, I'll do it. I don't do that too often. I do go some like base gyms and stuff like that, and I have to remember that when I don't have like my PSP shirt on, like they also think that I'm just a regular like
PSP,
military
PlayStation
member.
Portable?
No,
I have one of those.
yeah, PSP is like the staff, like personal support personnel, whatever. So when I don't have that on, I always forget. Like I can't just go randomly up to people and be like, "Hey man, can I spot you?" Because I did that one time. I was down in Borden and there was a guy who was benching. He looked like he was struggling a little bit. I'm like, "Hey man, like, do you need a spot?" And then apparently the guy didn't need a spot, and then he like raged up like 5 more reps than what he was probably capable of, just because I said, "Hey,
I
do
hope
need a
you
spot?"
said you're welcome.
Yeah,
You're
no,
welcome. I saw
no.
you being a soft little bitch
I
over there in the corner.
I just
so
left.
You needed
I just
that.
walked away at that point. But yeah, some people, you know what? Honestly, when it comes to that, some people just don't want your opinion either. So you always got to vet like whether or not it's worth it to, give somebody that. I never want to deter anybody away from a gym either. So I don't want to go out and be like, "You're doing this all wrong. Like you need to tuck your elbows in and like you really push." Like if you're there, thank God you're there, buddy. Because like, that's one of the things that I just wish that people would see more experienced lifters and go ask them for help. Like if they have questions or stuff. If somebody saw me in like a gym and they're like, "Oh, like how do you squat like 405 or whatever," like doing it for reps or just an example. I would always tell them like, "Hey, this is like kind of the foundation that I built. Like this is how I do it. Like this is all generally from my experiences." But like I'll never not answer a question. Like so if you people see me in the gym, feel free to ask me any question because I'll more than likely answer it.
I don't know. I always feel like you have an obligation to go out there and help them.
No.
But like people watch all
Oh,
the
yeah.
time, like all the time in between sets.
That's the best part about going to a public gym.
I'd watch some of these people, like some of the, even the, I watch the bigger guys and I'm like, oh, I love that. I love that movement. I'm gonna try that out.
Yeah.
And then you see some guys just doing like a quarter rep
Yeah.
barbell, and I see this guy all the time, and it's literally just
Oh, man. Yeah.
it doesn't even bend the elbows.
Yeah. We've got guys like that. I've trained a guy.
But he's in the gym every day.
Yeah.
He's in the gym
Yeah.
every single day,
Yeah.
early in the morning, and I'm just
Grinding.
like, all right, I'll give it to you,
Love
man.
it.
You're here.
I got a guy that does quarter reps right now. And it's like, some people just don't like, I don't know if they just don't know where their body is in space, but like sometimes it's like, I don't know what to do with you, man. Like you're not listening. The worst part is when clients don't listen to you and like, it's like, I've told you this is the way it needs to be done. Like, can we just end multiple times? But again, with the military aspect, I'm just happy that they're in the gym and stuff like that. I'm seeing a lot of like new population coming in. Obviously, the military is trying to grow quite a bit, but we all start somewhere. I'm sure I was that guy at one point in my life, just like not knowing what a full range of motion like bench press is or squat or, you know, bending my knees on a leg press, thinking I was a cool kid, putting 1,000 pounds up on a leg press and just moving it 2 inches. Like I was that kid at one point in time too. So I can't really say too much about that, but yeah.
Well, if you got time, I got one more
All
question.
right, let's do one more.
And this is something that I have noticed a little bit in myself, especially in some of my heavier lifts. That little.
Oh, you're a grunter. Are you?
Yeah,
You're
I'm
that
finding
guy.
out that I have become a bit of a grunter. Not sure where it came from, but all of a sudden it snuck up on me, and I still have it. So where do you draw the line between genuine effort and intention-seeking behavior when someone is screaming and slamming weights in a public gym?
Okay, man. There is time and a place for a nice grunt. I do like a nice grunt. If you're like a big old orangutan just doing that, I have no time for that. Like I really don't, because like in my mind is that you're really not doing anything but losing your brace as well. Like when you brace up, you should have that tension. You shouldn't be able to go like in order to do to do your reps. Like I like a little growl like that gets like the boys going. Like I love that, but to the point where it's like yeah, I've heard all of them, man. I could give you so many demonstrations.
I've never done that. I always
Yeah.
find it on like very last rep
Yeah.
just to get it. Like you're
Yeah.
like trying to all effort, absolute max. You like, I'm not gonna die today. Not gonna die today. Not today.
Yeah.
Ah!
But I'm
And it's
sure
up and
you
going.
don't need to go "Rah," in order to get that weight up. You could just be silent and just get it up. And be
I
a
don't know,
be
man.
a man.
I don't know about that. It started off little, but now I'm starting to see it. Like it's getting a little bit louder and louder. And I don't want to be known as that obnoxious guy at the gym, especially like in a public gym. Like you don't want to
Yeah.
intimidate people too much. Like
Yeah.
I'm not a massive guy
Yeah.
by any means, so I can't intimidate them with my muscles. But if I'm like grunting,
I also think
Does
that's an attention
for a guy
seeking.
my size, do I have that card to grunt? Do I?
Not really.
No.
You ain't that
Okay.
big.
So like I
Yeah,
really
you
just
gotta-
need to.
You gotta axe that.
I gotta correct myself
coming out
and
of
put
the
myself
program.
back in my place.
Yeah, just focus a little bit more on pushing instead of like grunting. Now, if somebody's going, you better check and make sure that they're not dying under the
Yeah.
bench. But 'cause heart attacks happen, man. But yeah, I think that if you really focus on it, like, and I get it, like maybe you're with the boys, you're trying to like, you know, like the testosterone is flowing, you know, like, and you're getting a good session out of it. You want to be a little bit loud. But I also think that that's pretty obnoxious too. Like when you're too loud at a gym, like I love
think,
this.
I think it has to be a part of the gym's culture. Like if you're
Yes.
in like in a public gym, like Good Life.
I love when people work hard.
Yeah.
And if you got to make that noise to work hard, I love that for you. Maybe not every rep, every set. Like there is a time and a place for it because I don't think that after every rep you need to, we used to have a guy like that at the gym, and God bless the two fellas that currently are at the gym that do this. They like I always make fun of them because I'm like, like if you're able to hold on to that air a little bit more, you might be able to actually put up some more weight, It's true.
Mm.
It's true.
I think the breathing side of it is like super important because I was doing barbell shoulder press,
Yeah.
155.
Yeah.
I was proud of myself for that
Yeah.
one. But I had just done a heavy set, and I think it was a rep range. I did 10, and then I jumped into the next one
Yeah.
and did 3 reps and kind of blacked out. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. Well, don't be blacking out,
dropping
man.
her down. So the breath work is super important.
Yeah. Yeah. And you should be able to breathe through your bracing as well. Then one of the biggest things that I promote is like you lock down, you ratchet your core, and you're still able to breathe. And a lot of people need to be using belly breaths. So like a little bit more out of their belly instead of their diaphragm in order to get these like good breaths of air and stuff like that. But I don't think that when you like grunt at the top, I think a lot of your structural pressure comes out in that point in that breath too, right? And then if you're trying to go for more, it's not really like you lose that breath because a lot of the times when you hear a "Hua," it's because like that's all the oxygen left out of their lungs. And so how are you going to stabilize and put pressure, internal abdominal pressure when you don't have air to put it? Right? So I think a lot of people, I also do believe that a lot of people don't know how to breathe while exercise as well. So that's a different topic for a different day. But yeah, don't be that guy who's egregiously just like trying to draw attention to yourself.
But I like
if you
the
notice,
attention.
hold
I
on.
like the attention.
If you notice, most of the biggest guys in the gym probably aren't the ones that are doing all that grunting too. It's hit or miss depending on the culture, but I will say, I guarantee you, like a lot of like maximal, like guys, unless you're training in that kind of like area, like say if you have like a garage gym, everybody's getting hyped up, like you're talking shit. Like those are some of the best sessions ever, right? You're going after each other, you're talking shit. It's really high tempo like stuff. Like you need that kind of stuff. Feel free, but like if you're in a public setting, you probably don't need to do that because you're probably not lifting like the absolute maximum weight. And if you are, maybe it's time to look outside for a different training spot. You know what I mean? Like maybe a culture that it is like highly receivable of that, where you can go in, you can be that monkey, that gorilla that really pushes the boundaries of that. And you know what? Home gym's great too.
Yeah, you're safe at home. You're
Yeah,
safe at home.
exactly. Yeah, you can grunt as loud as you want at home, but if you bring it to a personal, like a personal training spot or like like a small public gym, like man, people don't want to hear that. People want to enjoy themselves at the gym too, right? Like I think a big culture right now is like, oh, the look at me culture, look what I'm doing, stuff like that. And we have enough of that with all the people filming and in the booty shorts and like they're doing that already. So that's my thought on it. I've never really been a grunter though. I don't really think I need to be. I don't know. I don't. For me, myself, and my personal lifting career, whenever I get too excited or like too hyped up, fails lifts all the time. Oh my god. If I get like too cranked up, I can hardly even take the like ammonia, like smelling salts and stuff like that. Because if I just get too wound up, like it's like my brain turns off and I can't even focus on what I'm doing. It's crazy. I remember one of the first times I like cried after doing smelling salts. Oh my god, that was embarrassing. It was like in the back. I think it was like my first meet. I think you were there, and I hit some smelling salts. I started like freaking crying, and then I needed to take an extra minute in order to compose myself. And yeah, at that point I was still weak though. So, oh, well.
All right. Well, that's all the questions I got for
That's
you
all the
today.
questions.
I picked the brain of the geek.
That was good.
Maybe take some good advice there.
There we go.
Is there anything you want to add?
No, man. We just got to keep going, keep being consistent. That's the name of the game. More stuff is coming up on YouTube. More stuff is coming out of the podcast. I'm lining up a bunch of guests here. So hopefully you'll see more content. We're going to dive in to different training styles and so on and so forth. But I'm excited for that. They're going to be more one-on-one with me. There's some good content coming down the line. So that's what's going on right now. We are one weekend away from the Rise of the Deadlift that I'm sponsoring. So that's the deadlift competition here in London. So hopefully we'll get a bunch of content next weekend from that. I got one client who just started with me about 6 weeks ago. She's going to do her first deadlift competition, so that'll be cool. Kelly's going to crush it. And yeah, it's going to be a big event. So maybe we'll even do a podcast after that. Might sit in podcast and do one there. Who knows? Trying to keep everything rolling. How's training going for you?
Yeah, training's good with me so far. Bit of 30 years old, and I'm going through my own little midlife crisis. But I'm just like, frick, man.
Here we go.
Man, I'd put on 12 pounds since my wedding. So it was like literally like 4 weeks ago when I got married, and I went and put on the dress shirt, and it's just too tight. It's too tight, and so like
carbs will do that to you.
Yeah, the wife says I look great, so that's the opinion that really matters to me. But you know what? It's just like I don't want to be the guy with a gut, and because with the wife being a pro bikini model,
yeah, you can't be having that.
I can't have that. I have to train for the aesthetics, and so I'll put a little bit of longevity into my workouts a little bit more to look after the joints and everything. But I gotta look good, man. Because if I go to these shows and I need people to look at me next to her and be like, "Yep, that makes sense."
Yeah,
I don't want to be that guy who's like, "Why is she with him?"
I say that every time I see you. Just kidding. Okay. So that's pretty much it. My training has changed. I've signed up with my buddy from the military. We are going to be doing a Spartan race September. So I've started hitting the trails, hitting the concrete. I'm doing a little bit more running. I'm down weight. Like I'm like 176, 174 right now. This is crazy. I went through a big bulk phase, but now I'm recomping. I haven't really changed much other than a little bit of my conditioning. So that's crazy. Added probably more steps. Well, also added a ton more stress with work, but that's just the way she goes. And I'm dropping like a fly, man. So I signed up for the 181. Yeah, the 181 class. I signed up for the 192 class, I think. Whatever. I think that's 90 kgs or something like that. So now I'm sitting in the 81.5 category, which I didn't really want to get back into, but here I am. So I'm well within it, and I'm feeling stronger than ever. So I'm having some good lifts. So that's the update for my training. But I'm interested to see how I do with the Spartan race. I got to find out, like, rings. I got to go do some, like, hanging ring stuff. I guess that's an obstacle course, like, thing that you got to do in that. But other than that, been enjoying my farmer's carries, my sandbag carries, dragging the sled. Love it. Good sled drag, man. Love it. But yeah, that's about it. All right, let's wrap this up. Well, thanks for listening to In the Rack podcast, powered by 141 Fitness. If you'd like to find more content on this, you can go to our Instagram and or YouTube in order to find more videos of exercise demos, raw personal training sessions. Maybe I'll get Rob on there doing some exercise demos too, depending on how reluctant he is to do those. But that's all for now. We will see you in the next one.
Swagging every day around your people know you frontin'. Telling me you got it, you must be fluent nothing. Swagging every day around your people know you frontin'. Telling me you got it, you must be fluent nothing. Swagging every day around your people know you